accurate, accurate, accurate. So, you want to know all about the word accurate, right? Well, first of all, it's an adjective, which means it modifies or describes a noun or a pronoun. In common usage, accurate usually means being correct or precise in what you say or do. For example, the teacher gave accurate information about the exam schedule, or she made an accurate prediction about the weather. The key idea here is that something accurate has the right details or facts. And it's not a mistake or a misinterpretation. One special note about its usage is that when we talk about opinions or feelings, accurate might sound a bit awkward because people's opinions can be subjective and open to interpretation. So, in those cases, you might use words like true, correct, or right instead of accurate. If you're looking for information on how to use the word accurate in different contexts, I'd be happy to help. In a formal setting, you might say something like, "The historian's account of the battle was accurate, given that it was based on primary sources." This sentence is an example of using accurate in a context where precision and truthfulness are paramount, such as in academic or professional writing. Moving to a more casual conversation, you could say, "I just read the most accurate review for this new restaurant, they really know their stuff." In this context, the word accurate is used to describe a situation where someone has given an honest and reliable opinion. It's a way of saying that the information or assessment provided is trustworthy and dependable. In a business or academic setting, you might use the word accurate in a sentence like, "The company needs to ensure that its financial reports are accurate and up to date in order to meet regulatory requirements." This example shows how accurate can be used to describe information that is precise and reliable, particularly in situations where accuracy has significant consequences or implications. So you want to know about accurate? Huh? Well, think of it like this. When we say something is accurate, we mean that it's true to what really happened or exists. The main characteristics are that it matches up with reality, has no mistakes or flaws, and gives a clear picture of things as they actually are. This concept is often linked to others like true, correct, or precise. All these words suggest getting the details right. When we use accurate in a sentence, like "the weather forecast was accurate," it means that what they said about the weather actually happened. It's super useful when you want to make sure someone is giving you reliable information. And it helps us trust what others are saying or showing us. Acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge. Let's talk about the word acknowledge. So, acknowledge is a verb, which means it's an action word that tells us what someone is doing. Commonly, people use acknowledge to mean recognizing something, such as another person's work, achievement, or presence. For example, you might say, "I acknowledge your hard work on this project," to show appreciation for their effort. In everyday conversations, acknowledge can also be used in a more formal sense, like in business meetings or official statements, where it means showing that something has been recognized or accepted as true. One special note about acknowledge is that it's often confused with admit. But while both words mean accepting the truth of something, admit tends to have a slightly stronger connotation, implying that someone was initially unwilling to accept the fact but later came around to agreeing with it. In a formal setting, such as a university lecture hall, a professor might say, "We acknowledge that this topic has been extensively studied in previous years." but our research aims to provide new insights and perspectives. Here, acknowledge is used to show recognition of existing knowledge or information. In a casual conversation between friends, someone might say, "I appreciate you acknowledging my feelings. It means a lot to me." In this context, acknowledge implies showing understanding or being aware of something, often accompanied by a sense of empathy. On the other hand, in a business setting, such as during an investor presentation, a company representative might state, "We acknowledge our competitors' strengths and challenges, but we believe our product offers unique advantages that set us apart." Here, acknowledge is used to show awareness or recognition of external factors that may impact the company's performance. So, you want to know about this concept that helps us show respect and understanding towards something? Well, when we say that someone acknowledges something, it means they're basically saying, "Yes, I hear you. I see what you mean." Even if they don't necessarily agree with it, it's like a nod of the head or a smile to show they're paying attention and taking note of what's being said. This concept is really important in many situations, such as when someone shares their thoughts or feelings, because it helps them feel heard and understood. You can think of similar concepts like understand, agree with, or show appreciation for. All of these ideas are kind of related to acknowledging something. And what does it do? It helps build trust and understanding between people, which is super important in many areas of life. Aggregate. 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 Let's talk about the word aggregate. The part of speech for aggregate is primarily a noun, but it can also be used as an adjective in certain contexts. In common usage, aggregate refers to something that is made up of many parts or elements combined together, such as aggregate data, a collection of data from multiple sources, aggregate income, total earnings from various sources, or aggregate materials, like crushed stone or gravel. What's interesting is that when used as an adjective, aggregate often implies a sense of totality or completeness, as if all the parts are being considered together. For example, in finance, aggregate demand means the total amount of money available for spending in an economy. In this sense, aggregate helps to convey a broader perspective by lumping together various components into one unified view. In a formal setting, such as a news article or a professional journal, you might say, "The new environmental regulations will require companies to aggregate and report on their carbon emissions annually, providing transparency into their sustainability efforts." This sentence uses aggregate to mean gather or combine data for a larger purpose. In a casual conversation with a friend who's an urban planner, you might say, "I'm trying to get some insight into the demographics of this neighborhood, but the city only releases aggregated data on population and housing density, which isn't super helpful." Here, aggregate means combining smaller details to form a more general picture or overview. In a business or academic context, such as a research paper or a company report, you might say, "Our market analysis indicates that the demand for eco-friendly products will increase significantly over the next year, with an aggregated growth rate of 15% across all regions." In this case, aggregate means to calculate and present the total amount of growth or change in a particular metric. So, you want to know what aggregate means? Think of it like a big collection or a group of things that are put together, often in a way that makes them into something new and useful. It's like taking all the individual pieces of a puzzle and combining them to create a complete picture. In English, we use this word to describe things like groups of words. ideas, or even physical materials that are combined to make something bigger or more powerful. For example, if you're writing a report, your notes and research all come together in an aggregate way to form the final written piece. It's also similar to other concepts like summary, compilation, or ensemble, which all mean bringing multiple parts together to create something new.